Hi everyone, this is the 136th video of the ACT Math Practice Problem series, and here we have a simple problem from the concept of permutation and combination. As I always recommend, before seeing the solution, you can pause the video and give it a try yourself, and after that of course you want to match with my solution. So let's get started. Here the question says, which of the following expressions gives the number of permutations of 23 objects taken 7 at a time? This is a very basic question from the concept of permutation and combination. The two fundamental formula that we know from the concept of permutation and combination, they are kind of like this. The first one tells us how many different ways we can choose R objects from a set of n objects. So different ways of choosing R objects from a set of n objects, that is represented by the NCR formula, which is n factorial over R factorial times n minus R factorial. And the formula for NPR tells us how many different ways we can arrange R objects from n objects. Meaning, if we have n objects, we want to take R objects from the n objects and then we want to arrange them. So NPR essentially tells us that it's the number of permutations of R objects from n objects, meaning number of permutation of n objects taken R at a time. Whereas NCR tells us number of ways to choose R objects from n objects. Right? Now, if you carefully look at it, you can see that NPR, this value can be written as n factorial over n minus R factorial, and if we multiply by R factorial in the numerator and also R factorial in the denominator, and then from here that if we write it like n factorial over R factorial times n minus R factorial and times R factorial, and you can clearly see that this is actually NCR times R factorial. This is actually NCR times R factorial. So when it comes to determining the number of permutations of n objects taken R at a time, we are essentially talking about selecting R objects from the n objects and then arranging them, right? So for our question, what can we do then? Well, in our question, essentially, we have been asked to find out the value of NPR, where n is actually 23 because we have been told that there are 23 objects and 7 objects taken at a time. So here R would be 7 and n would be 23, and here we are talking about permutation. So essentially, we are talking about this formula. We have to use this one. And also, if you are not familiar with the NPR formula, then of course you can use the NCR formula. But using the NCR formula, we will be able to find out how many different ways we can select 7 objects out of 23 objects, and then also we have to take care of arranging the 7 objects. That means for each of the ways that we can select 7 objects, we can arrange the objects in 7 factorial ways. So essentially your number of permutations will be 23C7 times 7 factorial. So in our example, then our answer would be like this. It would be 23C7 times 7 factorial, and if you solve this, this will actually turn out to be 23 factorial divided by 7 factorial times 23 minus 7 factorial and times 7 factorial. And if we simplify this 7 factorial, this one and this one, they will cancel each other, and we're going to be left with 23 factorial in the numerator over 23 minus 7 factorial in the denominator. And that is actually our answer. And if you look at our answer options, we have 23 factorial over 23 minus 7 factorial under option J. So option J would be the correct option. I hope everything made sense. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.